We don't intend to sell our assets. We intend to keep all of our present assets in all of our countries, Holland, Norway, Denmark and Poland. We are deeply committed to the print titles in particular, because out of the print titles flows everything else. In addition, I can tell you that the company has recently reconfirmed its determination to continue to lead the consolidation of newspapers in Europe on a pan-European basis. But there's not just one module of activity now, there are 6 modules. The newspaper will remain important, as I say, but we can't afford the historic costs of producing just one printed newspaper. That economic model is unviable for the future. Costs will have to continually come down on the printed side of the business, and that resource has to be transferred to the other modules. 5 other modules, as well as print, 5 other modules are of course the online newspaper itself. Then there's the social network, but I would say a local social network as a module. The next module, the third module, is e-commerce. Then there's the mobile module, and then there's the PED4 module. I've got to say that the more I look at newspapers online, the more I'm convinced we've got it wrong. Because that's exactly what they are. They're newspapers online, but yet digital provides you with much more opportunity to produce content in different forms more dramatically, more of it, richer content as well. And we're still relative novices about newspapers online, because we haven't taken full advantage of that. And as you all know, the instinctive reaction to online newspapers for editors in the first days was to dump content online just from what they had in paper, and that clearly doesn't work. So developing online newspapers with the added ingredients of entertainment, of engagement, it's a two-way street with the users, of contributed content, of video, of course, all the broadcasting opportunities you have. That's how the online newspaper should be developing, quite differently from the printed version. We're building audience all the time. You know, we've got a static 18 million readers across Europe. We have a very unstatic and growing audience online, 40 million and rising. We expect to be nearly 60 million in 2 years' time. We're also very proud of Media Regionalne, which has developed a national platform, not just content with being in the limited regions that we operate in print. We now are, I believe, the #1 provider of local news and information across the whole of Poland. And that perhaps is a very dramatic illustration of what newspapers can do, what newspapers can become. Because we don't really think that we're in print primarily. Yes, we love our newspapers, we're committed to them, we want to see them survive, and we'll make sure they do survive, but we're not really in print. What we're in is content. And what we're especially in is local content. And local content makes the world go round. I think that is what people desire more than anything else, to be informed about what's happening in their own community. And you know, where we've had tremendous progress in our Norwegian newspapers and our online versions of newspapers, which increasingly are quite different from the content in the printed version. What happened in Norway is hugely important, because the people you're talking about, and this wasn't us at group level, local managers said, we've been doing online for 15 years, we have now got to maybe 25% of our readers who are also online on a daily basis. If we work for another 10 years, we might get to 100%. And 10 years is too late. So what are we going to do? And what they decided to do was to split the operation in two in terms of resource. I mean, people still do online and print together, but 50% of the resource goes into online. And that has had a huge impact, where we have now 20% of our revenue, sales revenue, online, nearly 20% going online in this particular newspaper. We have an innovation group in Copenhagen, constantly dreaming up ideas to exploit mobile. Mobile, for me, I think, is a bit like coming home, because mobile is instant gratification and content. It's a bit like tabloid, but only on the move. Of course, it has a serious side as well. And it will do entertainment, sports, listings, but it will also do things like local directories. And again, local is the key. We've got the knowledge, we're not exploiting it. Mobile is another platform, another module we need to be engaged with. And finally, paid for content. The Times model is, I think we should all be very pleased what Rupert Murdoch has done. I think that's as usual, he's providing leadership. He's saying to the world, you're not having my content for free. He probably puts it in a slightly more vulgar fashion, knowing Rupert. And he will probably be the first to say that he's got it wrong. Not the principle, but the Times and the Sunday Times contain an awful lot of content which you can get from other sources. And I can be quite sure we can rely on Rupert to refine that model and to start to think much more about unique content as the engine for paid for content. I think it's much easier with local content because nobody else produces it. And that's where we're developing models of enriched content, which we believe will be very useful to the local audience. And gradually we will introduce some charging mechanism. So I think the message is very much, there is a way to rejuvenate the industry, to make local newspapers the engine of this growth. And as I said to some of our Media Regionalne managers this morning at breakfast, this is a much more exciting world than the one I entered many years ago. This is the time that I would like to become a journalist, a young journalist, and I believe that we should be recruiting into our local newspapers the best talent and inspiring them with the vision for the future, which gives us a new start. Thank you very much.